Okay, thank you, everyone. So I will go very quickly because we want to spend as much time with the projects as we can. So our session is on showcasing the NGIatlantic.eu transatlantic projects. And just a quick word about the project itself. It's a 2.5-year project running currently to the end of June 2022. We're looking at the feasibility of a 6-month extension at the moment, and we'll see. And our main purpose is to fund experimental projects between EU participants and US collaborative teams in areas related to next generation internet. The purpose of today's session is to showcase our EU-US projects according to their NGI topics. So in our first 2 open calls in which we've had our projects, we've had 4 different topics. Okay, so the first one was specifically on experimental platform interconnection. Now, I just want to point out here that some of our winning projects actually cut across a number of them. So what we're doing here is we're putting them in their, their first or primary topic of collaboration. So within this panel, we have the Cash experiment, which has Sorbonne University and New York University Tandon School of Engineering and US Ignite, and it will be represented by Bharat Sen-Sinel. Then in our second call, we have the Integrating Open Ireland and Cosmos Testbeds for Delivering Cross-Atlantic Open Networking Solutions with Trinity College Dublin and the Open Ireland Science Foundation Ireland Connect project with the University of Arizona and Rutgers University, both of which are on the Cosmos platform funded by the National Science Foundation. And we have panelists Marco Ruffini from Trinity College Dublin and Yvonne Seskar from Rutgers University. Then the Cloud Bank EU NGI project with CERN, as the EU partner, and also the University of California, San Diego. And we have 3 representatives here today. And then I also want to mention our another project with RWTH Aachen in Germany and Rutgers University Cosmos platform, which has not started yet. They had a specific situation in their project in which the EU team has to go to the US to the platform based in New York City to do the setup. And because of the current travel ban on EU Schengen countries, that this has not been possible. So we've postponed the start date. But I just wanted to mention this project. Thought they won't be showcasing today. They'll be showcased in the next NGI Forum. Okay, our next topic then is on privacy and trust enhancing technologies. And so we have 3 projects here. The Food Data Marketplace, Privacy and Trust Enabling Data Marketplace for Sustainable Supply Chains with Trace Labs in the EU and Cacoxy in the US. The Responsibility to Protect Population Through Peer Governance and Trusted Community with Donatus.org and Clemson University. And then the Next DE, Enabling the Next Generation P2P project with ILVO and Change the Block in the EU and ID PLIS in the US. And our next topic is decentralized data governance, in which we have 3 projects, the self-certifying names for data networking project, and we have a number of panelists from Athens University of Economics and Business and the University of Memphis, the FAIR Team project, which is the FAIRCOM on the EU and Rocket.chat on the US side. And we have Roland Alton as the panelist. And then Decentralized Data Ecosystem for the Open Blockchain for Asset Disposition Alliance with UPC and Obada and the University of Nevada, Reno on the US side. And then finally, our fourth topic, discovery and identification, also known as better search and discovery. We have the measuring multi-carrier cellular performance, access international roaming performance. And for this project, it's coordinated by University Carlos III of Madrid and has Telefónica as a partner in Northwestern University. Okay, so the session itself, originally we were going to break into 4 different groups, but in the interest of time, what we're going to do is we're going to have one big panel, and I will try to run through the questions with the panelists as we go. And so the first question I have for our panelists, and again, we can do it in the order of the topics. So the first question that I have is, why do you consider that your project's NGI topic is important for transatlantic cooperation? And I would ask that when you start this, just give 1 or 2 sentences about your actual project itself, and then why it is so important for transatlantic cooperation. So if we can start with Bharat from the Cache experiment.
Hello, Jim. Hello, everybody. So Cache experiments on EdgeNet. This is basically, we tested blockchain-based content delivery network in a distributed Kubernetes cluster, which is EdgeNet testbed. We, of course, extend Kubernetes API to meet the edge requirements. As the Sorbonne University team, we have been in collaboration with NYU Tandem and US Ignite to develop EdgeNet. However, this collaboration was not an official one. This experiment, Cache experiments on EdgeNet, is the first official recognition of this collaboration and really made us closer to improve both Cache and EdgeNet. And I can simply say that we still participate in our partners each other's meetings, weekly meetings, to get the benefit of large knowledge of all of these teams.
Okay, thank you very much, Bharat. Now, the next one is the Cloud Bank project. Bob, do you want to answer, or do one of your colleagues want to answer?
Sure, yeah. This is Bob Jones from CERN. So Cloud Bank EU is all about making it easier for researchers to access commercial cloud services more efficiently and cost effectively. Cloud Bank started out as an NSF grant of 5 million, where it helps US-based researchers access to commercial cloud services. What Cloud Bank EU does is expand the model so that European cloud users, researchers in Europe, can also make use of the Cloud Bank service to access and manage their use of commercial cloud services. So what we particularly like about this in terms of the important transatlantic cooperation is that it brings together the existing infrastructures in the US, notably the networking infrastructure, and in Europe as well with the Xeon network. It brings them together and also brings into play the more recent federated identity management systems to allow transnational, transatlantic access to these resources. So it's very important for us to do all of this because science has no borders, as has been recently shown and demonstrated very clearly by this global scientific response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The ability to share cloud services and data across the continents is essential to addressing this major societal problem. I'll stop there.
Okay, thank you very much, Bob. Marco or Ivan, can you talk a little bit about the Integrating Open Ireland project.
Yes. Hi guys, hi everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this project is basically about interconnection of two testbeds. So one is the Cosmos testbed in the US, based mostly around the area of Manhattan. And the other one is Open Ireland testbed, which is based around Dublin, around the Trinity College area. So, the importance there is that the connectivity here is on two sides. So one is actually physical connectivity, so that experiments can flow from one testbed to the other, but it's also about the control. So the idea is that you can move an experiment from one testbed to the other without having to spend too much time on its reconfiguration. And this type of testbeds basically, you can get access to radio resources, and by that we means hardware, where open hardware, where you can install your own software. Where we work also with our own software and build a free base station. But it goes much beyond that, because there is the entire architecture that a telecom operator would have, and this gives you the chance to actually experiment with it. Now, this is very difficult for everyone to have. Normally, it's only operators and some of the larger vendors that might have this type of infrastructure. But this, with Cosmos and Open Ireland, you can actually get access even if you are researchers. And this is critical for two reasons. First of all, because data has become more and more important for any type of experiment, especially network automation that involves machine learning. And as of today, most of the researchers have to do work on simulated data. But now this gives you the opportunity to actually work on realistic data. And the second thing, it also allows you to bring experimentation out from the lab, where things are very confined and very well controlled, to a real city environment. So things, you don't control the environment as well as you do it in your lab, and plus you can test real application, for example, with with the car traffic and so on. So I think that's one most important thing of the cooperation.
Okay, thank you very much, Marco.
Wants to add something.
Okay, thank you. So moving into the privacy and trust enhancing technologies. So can you tell us a little bit about the food data marketplace and why it's important for transatlantic cooperation, Yuri, and or Adam?
Yeah, of course. Hi, Jim. Thanks for the opportunity. So just a couple of sentences on what the food data marketplace is. So essentially, we've developed food data marketplace, the infrastructure for food data marketplace already as part of a previous NGI product, and we had a project, and we had a good opportunity that within the scope of NGI Atlantic, we actually expand on it. And the whole purpose of food data marketplace is utilizing open source decentralized technology, so origin trail, decentralized knowledge graph in our case, to actually address the issue of inequitable distribution of gains in global food supply chains by allowing for transparency in data, and also allowing for especially players upstream in supply chains to actually valorize the data that they provide into the supply chain, and at the end of the day that data can end up increasing the price of a product that they might not be compensated for. So, and that data needs to be trusted, it needs to be secure, and it needs to be connected to kind of achieve that goal. And within the scope of NGI Atlantic, we partnered with our US partner, Kakaxi, that is a perfect fit to kind of test this in the real world, because Kakaxi provides farmers with self-sustaining IoT and camera devices, essentially, that are solar powered, that collect IoT data and time-lapse videos from farms that farmers can then collect and actually offer to producers and whoever else would actually want to purchase the data in that food supply chain, thereby actually receiving the piece of the pie and contributing to a more sustainable and transparent supply chain in the process. And why this is important is because through NGI Atlantic, we're kind of combining two very innovative platforms that are spanning across the Atlantic, and kind of combining them, merging them together to deliver something that is powerful and impactful and results in really benefiting the underdogs in global food supply chains at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much, Yuri.
Yeah.
Okay, now if we could have Stephanie or from Denades or Richard Brooks from Clemson University to talk about the P2P R2P experiment.
Hi, Jim. Hi, everyone. So it's Stephanie speaking from Danaid. I'm also a researcher at Sciences Po Toulouse, who is our European partner, academic partner on this NGI project. So P2P R2P is as an app, which the goal is to build capacity and ensure security for civil society actors in complex environments. So both US and EU foreign policy rely on bolstering the role of civil society actors in conflict and complex environments. And these are environments where erosion of trust is one of the main drivers of crisis, and where the informality of local civil society is a hurdle for these actors to integrate more formal processes such as institution building. So during this NGI Atlantic project, we're looking at how our platform our application can generate trust at a community level, which includes safeguarding the security of the users and the community, and allow the civil society to formalize their informal collective action. So in order to achieve this, we're actually, we've already got a fairly integrated structure with Danaid between Clemson and Danaid. We now have also Sciences Po Toulouse as an academic partner in Europe, and we are deploying the test beds in the States, but also working with local civil society actors in sub-Saharan Africa to be able to generate user profiles and generate activity and traffic.
Okay, thank you very much, Stephanie. I know Richard is there as well. I don't know if you want to say anything, Richard, on why it's important from your perspective.
One thing that's really nice is to be able to have computing and engineering people working with political science and NGOs in order to come up with a common project. It's also good with we're looking at the overall governance of the system, and with that we've also been able to bring in economists to look at the trust factors, and I think I'll talk more about the privacy part on another question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Now from the NextDE project perspective, we have Alan Dragalow from Change the Block and Mike Webb from ID, please.
Yep, hello. I will do the introduction. Thank you, Jim, for the opportunity. Thank you all guys for being here with us today. So I will explain a little what we do, what we are planning, and what we are doing right now. And then I will give Mike the chance to answer the first question. So at NextDE, we are working together with ILBO and ID, please, to create a decentralized marketplace for farmers. Right now, we are working on top of Just Connect. Just Connect is a platform that was created by ILBO and the Belgian government, where there is a possibility to transact through APIs with different partners. And the good thing, give me just a sec that I close my door. The good thing about it is that the people could buy access to APIs and information of farmers, but the farmers are the last people that accepts or agrees to transact and approve the use of their information. So thank you to this platform, all the farmers that are giving their data, they know to whom and when is it used and not. And they also could decide when to stop sharing it. So what we wanted to do is to implement it through blockchain. So there is no way that any entity could change the transactions, and also the users and the farmers would know exactly the price of the transaction and the use that the entities are doing of their APIs. To answer the first question, I give the chance to Mike.
Okay, thanks, Alan.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mike Webb. I represent the ID verification component called ID, please, which is within the Belgium system. I'd like to start by saying many thanks for the invitation to attend. Really good to be here. and also our Chief Technology Officer and also co-founder, Eric, is joining us today as well. So what do we do and why is it important for transatlantic cooperation? Put simply, our component, ID Please, is being used to really maximize the confidence of all users of the system by really guaranteeing to everybody and all stakeholders that every single communication and part of information and data is only available to those people allowed and pre-authorized to see it. It enables the system to fully verify the ID of any individual, linking what we like to call a digital key in a way, or entry to the system directly to a real world ID, such as a passport or a driving license. We then triangulate that with 11 other biometrics from a smartphone. And our default verification though, to ensure that that user is the person they're saying for, is just a simple yes or no to the system. All the ID documents that they provided to prove they are who they say they are actually securely on our blockchain servers. The user therefore has full self-sovereignty over their ID, and whilst we still deliver the assurances required for a secure environment that everybody can trust that they know fully the individual that they're dealing with. Finally, however, it's obviously very important that no barriers are there for the farmers to use the system regularly. So our component is designed to be very painless and quick as possible. For instance, the user onboards on a smartphone only the once, but then they can use it at any time in the future to quickly prove their true identity. The way the system works is that they'll open up the app, they take a very, very fast selfie photograph, which our AI system then compares against the photo ID that we have on the system for them. And then, as I said before, by merging this result with all the other biometrics, we are able to guarantee 100% that they are who they say they are. So that's our component within this exciting project. And I'm obviously here to answer any questions anybody may have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mike. It's good to have you today. Okay, now moving into the realm of decentralized data governance, one of the team from Athens University or Professor Christos Papadopoulos from University of Memphis, please answer.
I'm sorry, Jim, sorry to interrupt you. Just to let you know that there is a question in the Q&A chat from Loretta asking how scalable is this ID Please onboarding?
Oh, thank you for that, Ruben. Alan or Mike, do you want to take that question? How scalable is the platform?
I'm sure Alan will answer fully, but I'd just like to say with our component within it, anywhere between 0 to infinity. We use IBM servers, for instance, blockchain servers, everything we do within blockchain. And I'd be more than happy for 5 million people to onboard tomorrow morning.
Yeah, also I completely agree with Mike, and this is a little bit the idea of the NXD. It's like we could also replicate this system worldwide, and this is one of the great things of working in a transnational way. So really, it's what exactly Mike said. The good thing is like, thanks to ID Please, we are complying with other regulations in the United States plus Europe. So it could be translated in both continents. And of course, with the way that we are working and the centralization of the system, the main idea is like it's really replicated. And also the contracts that we are using in XD have to be approved previously by the ID Please identification. So in that case, it could be open to any farming or let's say like worldwide and on any vertical that requires any kind of disagreements.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And thank you for the question, Loretta. Okay, so self-certifying names for named data networking. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the importance for transatlantic cooperation?
Yes, hi, sure. So our project is investigating a new identification technology called decentralized identifiers. And the novelty of our project is that we are applying this technology for identifying information, for identifying content items. And we are trying to solve various security problems with this approach. So we are experimenting with an NGI paradigm called information-centric networking. And in particular, we are extending an ICN architecture, the named data networking architecture, and we are leveraging an internet-wide testbed that implements this architecture. And this testbed is maintained by a consortium composed mostly of US-based institutions. So an important aspect of this project is that this testbed has now been expanded to Europe. We are part of this testbed, and we anticipate that will remain part of this testbed even beyond the end of this project. So we hope that other EU-based institutions will have the chance to experiment with this very exciting technology. Another aspect that I would like to highlight is that the technology with which we are experimenting, the decentralized identifiers, is considered in many cross-border scenarios. For example, the recent COVID-19 vaccination certificates. There are many working groups investigating the application of this technology in this area. Therefore, we really believe that it is important to have institutions from both US and EU contributing to the community.
Okay, thank you very much, Nikos. And the last one in the decentralized data governance topic is the FAIR Team EU experiment. Alton, Roland, Alton, do you want to explain about the project? Are you there, Roland? I don't hear you, Roland. Okay, we'll move on then to the.
No, sorry, Jim. Just a second. He was in the attendees. Now it should be. Yeah, now he's gonna. Here we go.
Okay.
Oh, now it works. Thank you for having us here.
Hi, Roland.
Hi, FAIR. Zoom is not my favorite. We like open source. That's what we do usually. We put together the pearls of open source. We are an integrator of open source tools. And we use RocketChat, Nextcloud, Keycloak usually, and deploy that at this company or organizations. And what was missing was...
could you maybe just speak up a little louder? I'm sorry, Roland, could you just speak a little bit louder, please?
What was missing was team integration in RocketChat, and we had set up experiments so that these teams is now integrated in RocketChat, and that this team functionality can be also used across several services. I do not want to talk too much about what we did content and technology-wise. So we did 2 rounds of experiments, and the users are quite happy now with the results. What I would like to stress here is that we have seen different cultures of how we work and how this US company works. During our experiment phase, we have been, RocketChat had a first round of investment with around investment with 19 million. So they were very, very busy talking to their investors. And yeah, and they grow tremendously with new people onboarding, and we had very large meetings. On the other hand, we are rather a small SME We are more non-profit oriented, evangelists of open source. And here we could see really the difference and learn from the difference in how to make business in the US. If venture capital is really driving you and fuels a startup, and how we do continuous business with customers and are not growing that fast. That's what we learned in this cooperation, additional from all the technical achievement.
Okay, thank you very much, Roland. And now our next project is the Decentralized Data Ecosystems for the Open Blockchain for Asset Disposition Alliance. And we have Leandro Navarro from UPC and Rohi Sokia from Obada. So Leandro and/or Rohi.
Yeah, well, from my perspective, the experiment is about the verifiable registry related to the circular economy of digital devices and computers, mobiles, and other kind of devices, things, which we expect them to have a longer lifespan, as long as possible, to minimize impact and to also to bring accountability to the second-hand market. And the testbed at UPC builds on different previous projects, some of them funded by NGI, and the value of working of the transatlantic collaboration is huge, because in the US, Obada is a well-known actor with many large actors in the for-profit and non-profit sector of the second-hand use of devices and the reverse supply chain. And the University of Nevada, Reno is also very active in the standardization of solutions for that. So the experiments allow us to really test the system with the right requirements, in the right scale, and be able to produce specifications of APIs and guarantees that a blockchain, a verifiable registry, can provide to the circular economy, which is a huge sector. I mean, every year there are as many new devices as people in the planet exist. So it's huge, and it's huge the environmental impact that we can reduce as part of the mitigation of climate change that we are fighting nowadays. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Leandro. Okay, in the category for discovery and identification technologies, or sometimes called better search and discovery, we have the Measuring Multi-Carrier Cellular Access International Roaming Performance Project. Here to tell us about it is Marcelo Bagnulo Brown from UC3M. Marcelo?
Hi, yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. Our project is, the partners of our project are Northwestern University in the US, Telefonica, and UC3M here in Spain. So the topic of our project is probably one of the most fundamental telecommunication services around, that is basically data in mobile devices, right? And what we're looking at is exploring the different models for roaming of devices when you're traveling abroad, right? In particular, we're looking into how devices behave when they are from the US and roaming in the EU. So as you're aware, when you're roaming, especially from the EU in Europe, or Europe from USA into Europe, or from Europe into the US, this has an economical penalty. The cost is fairly high, right? And also it has performance penalties. This may not be, well known, but there are significant performance penalties. Over the years, recently, there have been new models that are being explored in order to perform roaming while traveling abroad, right? In particular, there are new operators that are bringing new technological models, such as Google Fi, right? So in the case of Google Fi, their approach is to connect to multiple carriers, not only with a single carrier as normally traditional mobile network operators do, but to connect to different carriers in particular depending on the country, right? So this actually brings significant benefits, both in terms of the costs of the operation, but also in terms of performance. And this actually may be a game changer, right? If now we suddenly have a new model that allows us to do much more efficient roaming, much more cheap roaming, right? This may actually change the way I mean, this type of services may become very popular, and they may be adopted widespread, right? So what we're doing is we're actually measuring what are the performance gains of these new models for roaming, right? In particular from devices from the US roaming in Europe, understanding which are the performance gains, right? And understanding whether there are some additional potential benefits that could be achieved in alternative models for data roaming. Right. So far we are testing several of these new carriers that are available, right? And we are trying to quantify which are the benefits that they are able to provide. I think with that.
Okay, thank you very much, Marcelo. Okay, so that concludes the first question. So in the interest of time, I have an idea to, because many of you have actually covered your achievements in your initial answer, which is great. But what I would say is what we'll do is we'll do a lightning round question, which has two parts, and requiring two quite short answers from everybody. So the first part would be, how would you describe the opportunity of getting the NGIatlantic.eu funding, as opposed to not getting it? So, what achievements have you gained? Just one or two, let's say, that you have been afforded by having this this funding from NGI Atlantic. And then second part of that is just briefly describe who your target audience and users are, and quickly how they'll benefit from your solutions. So again, we'll start at the top. So Bharat, if you could try to cover those 2 points very quickly, please.
Sure, Jim. So I would say that it allowed us to mature both EdgeNet and cache cutting edge technologies. Moreover, it allowed us to keep collaborating on these tools, frameworks to improve. And we aim to reach out to the large user community, both for cache and EdgeNet. At cache, it is also important to attract entrepreneurs who are interested in blockchain-based content delivery network. And EdgeNet wants to welcome inter-Atlantic experimenters to use the platform and contribute to the cluster or to the goal.
Okay, thank you very much. Bob, would you like to, or would some of your other team like to answer those 2 points?
Yeah, so Apostolos will start, and then James will carry on with the second part of your 2-part question.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bob. Hello, I'm very excited to be here. So as it was mentioned, the main objective of the CloudBank EU project is to propose a model for wide access of commercial cloud services for sharing. For us, the goal to be achieved is to put in place a model for all data processing and analysis related to cost management. In addition, I would like to mention that certain departments and experiments are currently using cloud infrastructure. Some of the usage deployment that was achieved concerns statistical analysis using machine learning, training, trained deep learning models using GPUs, machine learning real-time event selection based and algorithm training, as well as commercial cloud storage. I will leave it here to James to answer the second part of the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Apostolos.
Hi, I'm James Mitchell, the CEO of Strategic Blue. We're the multi-cloud reseller partner for CloudBank, both in the US and now in Europe. CloudBank is looking to help researchers and their supporting administrators at universities in the US and Europe to access the public cloud. We're well set up to not just guide on the fun technical stuff, but also the contractual, financial, and procurement hurdles. We do this without adding any additional cost to either the researchers or their funders. So we help the researchers' euros or dollars stretch further across multiple different cloud vendors, and whether that funding comes from the NSF, the university itself, or any other funder. And a key innovation is that we're building an international ecosystem of cloud adopters who are conducting research in the cloud. And they are willing to help one another get each other's research up and running in the cloud.
Okay, thank you very much, James. Okay, Marco and or Ivan, do you want to cover those 2 points, please?
Yeah, so I know Dan is also here. They were just, they enter with my name because I gave them the link for the panelists, so that's why.
Okay, great.
See a few of me in there. I mean, maybe I'll start, and then if you do want to add something else. So, I mean, what do we gain with this? I think, I mean, the first thing is that Cosmos, of course, was started before our Open Ireland. So it was great that for us, we could really gain to the other partner testbed, but not just as user, but more in detail to really understand, you know, what worked and what didn't work from their side. So that was a great advantage, I think, to save time from our side. But you know, the other thing is that you know, you join to a testbed that's already well known, so you start gaining wide recognition. It enables us already to submit the US Ireland proposals, for example, to SFI, and also other proposals that, you know, did not involve directly the US partner, but you know, because of this wider recognition, I think. The other thing that then, I mean, I think you want to say just to finalize and how, you know, what is important with the solution. I mean, the one thing that we want to say is that, I mean, there have been other testbeds, of course, around, but one key of this testbed is that we really try to use only open source software. And, you know, because it's a testbed which is based on open hardware, okay, so the hardware is really merchant silicon. The software is really what controls everything. Now, this is, to us, this is key. First of all, because it really enables everyone to do this type of experimentation. Because of course, if you have to work with a piece of software that's not open, first of all, you know, there might be licenses, but then, you know, you only get a binary, so you can't really change a lot to it. But the open source version, it really allows you to think, you know, what can be changed, what can go in a different direction. So academically, this is very important because it really enables people to do the research, but also commercially. Because if you can really understand every inside part of a system, I think that's where the real value for you as a commercialization opportunity comes up. Okay, so using closed box system doesn't really bring you to that commercialization path as working with completely open system, I believe. That's yeah, I think that is my point. I don't know if anyone wants to add more.
Okay, thank you, Marco. We also have Professor Dan Kilper here as well from the University of Arizona. And Dan, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, I mean, I can just add a little bit to what Marco said. I think he kind of covered it well, but a lot of what we were trying to do in Cosmos, in Ireland, there were folks who were more advanced in certain ways. And then on the other side, in Cosmos, we were more advanced than what was going on in Ireland. And so so that's a great thing about this sort of funding in these programs is that basically through NGI Atlantic, now we're able to bring in some unique capabilities and tools that Cosmos didn't have. And then you know, Open Ireland is basically building on a lot of what Cosmos had. And so it really allows us to do more. And then on the software side, so one of the interesting things we're doing with this is building a network emulation platform that extends across layers. And this is an extension of the Mininet platform. And so we'll have a mini-net optical, and then also on the Cosmos side, we have, we're connected with the mini-net sort of BGP extensions and so forth, and to do these types of cross-layer experiments. And so you really need more than just one group to build that kind of software platform. And so connecting Open Ireland and our mini-net optical effort with Cosmos and the bigger ecosystem that brings in is really great, and allowing us to do much more with that.
Okay, that's great, thank you. And I just want to point out that one of the primary reasons we have this particular topic, experimental platform interconnection, is that your kind of projects would be available for other NGI projects that are being funded under other NGI initiatives and topics. And it sounds like that could definitely be the case in many. Okay, so moving on to the food data marketplace, Yuri and/or Adam, do you want to cover those 2 points, please?
Yeah, of course, Jim. I'll cover the first part, and Adam will hop in for the second second piece. So yeah, for us, in terms of achievements and what we've really been able to do through NGI Atlantic is really bring something that we've already kind of developed in a more testing environment, actually bring it to life in real life deployments across the globe. We actually deployed Kakaxi devices for the food data marketplace across 3 locations. We have one in Ireland, we have one in Colombia, or we have a couple in Ireland, we have a couple in Colombia, and we have a couple in Nepal. And so we really are able to actually, through NGI Atlantic, test, what is actually what are the actual benefits? Does this work as we're thinking it should work, and really kind of experiment through this and then get to the business model that, at the end of the day, is sustainable and also enables the end users of which, or the users of the solutions, or the solution that Adam will talk about, to actually to really gain those benefits, and ultimately, as our goal is to bring sustainability to supply chains. And I'll hand over to Adam to talk about who really is the target audience and what they get out of this.
Okay, thank you, Yuri.
Well, thank you, Yuri, and thank you to NGI Atlantic for the opportunity to participate and join in the program. As Yuri mentioned, when we're looking at supply chain, it's important to separate in between the farmers that are providing the food or the inputs to it, and also the supply chain producers that either CPG brands or distributors that are using data to add value and transparency to their supply chains. So in our food data marketplace, the 2 users, when the farmers were able to benefit by taking control of the data that the Kakaxi device, climate and images of the production process, able to take ownership of that and valorize it on the food data marketplace platform. And then secondly, the producers who can purchase data to raise the transparency of the products. And those producers could be agencies, government, researchers, CPG brands that will ultimately pass the benefit on to consumers from that increased transparency for products that they're seeking and able to purchase. So those are as Yuri mentioned, these 3 supply chains that we were working with, those were our audiences for our initiative.
Okay, thank you very much, Adam. Stephanie and/or Richard, do you want to cover those 2 points from your project?
Yes. Okay, in terms of concrete achievements, one of the first issues is dealing with data governance and using our economics models of including trust, and then also reflecting the underlying civil society within that. And we're also building in some of my sustainable blockchain technology in there as an audit trail so that we can reliably track things going through there and also allow the group as a whole to control the data access and also the quality of the data. Another big issue is privacy, where we're interested not only in keeping the data private, which we have to, but also hiding the use of the system, because we're looking at at-risk groups using our tools. So we don't want them leaking. We don't want them leaking the fact that they're using it. And then a surprising achievement was then also helping with testbed design. Because in my recent talks with the Fabric testbed, we're going to be one of their alpha testers, and it was interesting in our talks. They kept asking things like, well, what sort of throughput are you looking at? And I kept explaining, I really don't care about throughput. I'm interested in observing everything I can about the data and the data flows in order to guarantee the privacy. So that gave them a new perspective into setting up the system. And also we're looking forward to being one of the people at the bleeding edge with alpha testing that. Now, in terms of the target audiences, I would say that we have 3 different groups that we're looking at. One is NGOs, where we can provide them some of the more recent advances with peer-to-peer technology and the economies that some of the private sector has been getting out of deleting middle layers of bureaucracy and getting rid of bottlenecks. Also, then there's the at-risk civil groups, who are the users and or final consumers of our product, which is a group that's frequently ignored, partly because which is partly the reason why they are at risk. And then the final one is then network designers and experimenters. I've been working a lot with the Internet Freedom Initiatives, and you have a lot of people who are very much at the leading edge of the technology with designing the systems, but in terms of prototyping and testing, they have not really been involved in those communities. So we're able to, I would say, bridge those two in a nice way.
Okay. Thank you, Richard. Sorry, I'm getting pinged here now, so we're going to have to really wrap it up soon. So maybe very quickly, Alan and Mike, just very quickly cover those points.
Yeah. I will start with the achievements, and I give Mike the main target audience. And the achievements is, as a startup, the best was to work with a great company as Silvo, and also to work with someone from United States. If we didn't have this NGI opportunity and open call, we wouldn't have the opportunity to know the way to work from people from abroad and let's say from United States. And this is very important also for the partners that are not IDPlease and ILBO, but also the testers of our product, because they have some requirements and way to work that it's quite interesting and we didn't know about it. And of course, the achievement that we got, it's like to get on a top tier decentralized marketplace. Thanks to the implementation of the ID verification of IDPlease, plus the knowledge of Just Connect and the blockchain system. So this is really fast, not to take too long for the other people. Mike, please.
Yeah, thank you. Again, just for my component within this exciting project, we see the whole system beneficial to all users. At the end user stage, we give the person full self-sovereignty of their personal data and full control of who sees what. And we obviously eliminate the chance of any identity fraud. But however, the information provider is given robust proof of the user's identity who is going to see their data, including true location, and therefore they've got complete transparency of every action within the system as a whole. So, as I said, we see the beneficiaries at both ends of the scale. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike. And Nikos or someone from the team, and very quickly, please.
Yes, so this is the kind of project that can help small teams move things really fast. So with the NGIatlantic, we managed to move from concepts to actual experimentation in only 6 months. And this is one aspect is due to the minimal administrative overhead. And another thing for which we are really grateful is that NGIatlantic gave us great dissemination opportunities, and we presented our project to the general public. With respect to the target audience, also the solutions that we are investigating have limitless applications. We are focusing on internet architects and content producers, and we are trying to make them see the benefits of decentralized security solutions. And I believe Christopher Papadopoulos would also like to say something.
Yes, I'm going to be very brief. So I just wanted to emphasize the importance of this project for the US side teams also. In our case, for the NDN team that's been running a testbed for several years now, it's really important to have teams such as the Team for Athens join the project. The testbed is a community-driven, community-maintained project. And out of this work, we were able to get another member on the testbed who not only contributed to the expansion of the network, but also worked on a research project. And at the end, they contributed code that came back to the NDN infrastructure. So this is exactly what we were hoping for when we set up the testbed, include teams that not only would use the testbed, but would actually test the limits and contribute code. On the intellectual side, the research is very interesting to me because the decentralized identifiers idea is, as Nico said, a very lightweight process that will be really useful for environments that are emerging or becoming very important these days. That includes things like IoT devices, sensors, and a topic that is very close to my work, which is automotive security. So I just wanted to express how fruitful it was for us to work with this project.
Thank you very much, Christos. Roland?
So RocketChat has gained from our cooperation gladly when we released RocketChat 3.13, including this team functionality, which we had specified together and worked out together with our experiment partners. They got very good feedback from all their customers, including from large universities. So I hope they benefited well for that. And for us at Faircom, we are integrators of open source tools. We could see that horizontal integration is really also important. So we have very good open source tools around, and they need to learn, and we trained them, and we could help them to talk together in respect of better managing teams now from one service to other services. And this was a very interesting cooperation for us, which will continue even after this NGI Atlantic program.
Okay, thank you, Roland. Leandro and/or Rohi?
Yeah, hi, I'm sorry, can you see me? Here we are.
Yes, Rohi. Hi.
Hi, thanks, and appreciate the chance to speak here. Regarding achievements, this is my first call with NGI, and I was a little late because of a board meeting for Obata, so sorry about that. I'll let Leandro speak to that one. But in terms of Obata and the target audience and such, essentially what we're doing is creating we've created a data model for physical NFTs, which can be stored in a decentralized NFT registry. And the audience for this is twofold: on a physical, and as Leandro mentioned, it's for electronics devices. We're a coalition from the asset disposition sector. And the physical NFT has two sides. One side is the physical layer. And for those folks in the asset disposition world, it gives them a tool for chain of custody so that they can offer proof that data has been destroyed or devices have been recycled properly. And on the virtual side, it creates we have an oracle, which creates a bridge to layer one blockchains to be able to connect to the physical world. And so the ultimate audience of all this is the world and all of the devices. And it's important to, our partners in Europe, we have partners all over. It's a worldwide thing. And the flow of these devices is often complex because some of it's e-waste, some of it's for reuse. Nobody can track it. And this gives us the solutions for making sure everything goes to the right place. So I hope that was helpful.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Rohi. Okay, and the final word from Marcelo. Marcelo.
So regarding the opportunity of NGI Atlantic open calls, I mean, our work is inherently international, right? I mean, we are measuring roaming from the US into Europe. I mean, we couldn't make it without proper collaboration with US teams. I mean, roaming within Europe is easier, it's cheap, it's regulated, but farther away, it's additional challenges, right? So regarding our target audience, well, our natural target audience are mobile operators, of course, because they are very interested in alternative models, especially if they involve large players like Google or vendors like Apple or Huawei that are also playing in this field, right? That may actually completely change the game, right? Also users, I mean, users have suffer from the fees from roaming, suffer from the performance penalties that impose, so alternative models will also be beneficial for them. App developers that alternative roaming arrangement could actually enhance performance significantly to allow apps to perform better and to perform in other models that currently are. And of course, researchers and even regulators. I think with that, I can wrap up.
Okay, thank you very much. And so just very briefly, some announcements. Our Open Call 3 results will be announced at the beginning of June 2021. There's now a National Science Foundation Dear Colleague Letter Supplement Fund available for US partners. And this would be presented in a few moments in part 3, and the link is here. Our Open Call 4 will open on the 15th of June, and we're planning a EU-US workshop for this Open Call on the 18th of June. And I list here the topics. There'll be more available on the website. So it'll be another stream on EU-US experimental platforms, and then we'll be covering 5 specific NGI topics. So with that, I'll pass it back